On the 15th of February 2024, dressed in black prison uniform, the jailed Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny looked through a barred window, cracking jokes about his depleting funds. He urged the judge to use a bit of his high salary to top up his account.
Your Honor, I will send you my personal account number so that you can use your huge federal judge's salary to fuel my personal account because I'm running out of money, and thanks to your decisions, it will run out even faster. So send it over.
The 47-year-old appeared physically well and cheerful as he gave his testimony via video link. The camera then turned away to show the court officials smiling and enjoying the banter. Little did anyone know it would be Navalny's last public appearance. And a day later, on the 16th of February, Russia's prison service said Navalny died, reportedly after collapsing and losing consciousness at the penal colony north of the Arctic Circle, where he was serving a jail term. The Federal Penitentiary Service of the Yamalo-Nenets Autonomous District said in a statement that Navalny felt unwell after a walk at his IK3 penal colony. A penal colony is a type of prison in Russia that combines penal detention with compulsory work. Navalny reportedly died at the penal colony in Karp, about 1,900 kilometers northeast of Moscow. Nicknamed Polar Wolf, Navalny was in the strictest penal colony located in Yamalo-Nenets region, well above the Arctic Circle. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told reporters the cause of death is being established. Hours after Navalny's death, his wife Yulia Navalnaya took to social media and said, "I love you," beside a picture of them together. The post showed a picture of the two together, their heads touching as they watched a performance. It brought a personal note to the loss she expressed more formally on a public stage after her husband's death was announced by the Russian prison service.
3 days ago, Vladimir Putin killed my husband, Alexei Navalny. Putin killed the father of my children. Putin took away the dearest thing I had, the closest and most beloved person.
Navalny's mother, Lyudmila Navalnaya, and his lawyer traveled to the IK3 penal colony in Russia's Arctic North, where Navalny was being held since last year. Lyudmila tried to track down her son's body, but received contradicting information from various institutions. She left without seeing her son, and was told by officials that her son had been struck down by sudden death syndrome.
Russian authorities are going to tell their own story. But make no mistake, Putin is responsible for Navalny's death. Putin is responsible.
Navalny's death has prompted several questions. How did Navalny become Putin's biggest political foe? Did he die a natural death, or was there foul play? How many other Putin critics have died in custody? As Russia heads to polls in March, what does Navalny's death mean for the Russian opposition? And what's next for Russian President Vladimir Putin? In March 2023, Navalny, a documentary film based on the life of Alexei Navalny, won the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature Film. In the documentary, director Daniel Roher's portrait of the Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny has shadowy operatives, truth-seeking journalists, conspiracy theories, and Soviet-era prisons. Yulia Navalnaya, the wife of Alexei Navalny, also delivered a heartfelt message to her husband at the 95th Academy Awards.
Alexei, I am dreaming of the day when you will be free and our country will be free.
That dream of Navalnaya's of seeing her husband out of prison and free never came true. Cut to February 2024, 3 days after Navalny died in an Arctic prison. Navalnaya accused President Vladimir Putin of killing her husband. Name names and show faces. Her video address comes as the Kremlin said an investigation into his death was ongoing.
We know exactly why Putin killed Alexei 3 days ago. We'll tell you about it soon. We will definitely find out exactly who committed this crime and exactly how they did it. We will name names and show faces. But the most important thing we can do for Alexei and for ourselves is to continue to fight more desperately, more fiercely than before. I know it seems like nothing more is possible, but we all need to come together into one strong fist and use it to strike this crazed regime. Putin, his friends, the bandits in uniform, the thieves and murderers that have crippled our country.
Navalnaya, who was by her husband's side for more than a decade in his fight against Putin, vowed to continue his work. So, who was Alexei Navalny? What did he do to make himself Putin's biggest antagonist in this Russian political power play? A former real estate lawyer, Navalny rose to prominence with blogs that exposed what he claimed was the vast corruption in Russia. With an anti-corruption crusade that exposed the illicit riches of top regime figures in a series of videos, Navalny built a vast support base and Russia's biggest regional opposition network. When the demonstrations flared up against Putin in December 2011, Navalny became one of the first protest leaders to be arrested. In 2013, Navalny ran for mayor of Moscow and won 27% of the vote, despite getting little or no coverage from the state media. Since then, he has been barred on various grounds from running for office. In August 2020, Navalny fell ill on a flight from Siberia to Moscow. The plane made an emergency landing in Omsk. Later, after an international outcry, Navalny was flown to Germany for treatment. His allies claimed that Navalny was poisoned with the Soviet-era nerve agent called Novichok. Labs in Germany, France, and Sweden confirmed this, while the Kremlin repeatedly rejected any suggestion that Russia tried to kill Navalny. A Russian agent sent to tail the opposition leader confessed how the activists' underpants were smeared with the toxin by an intelligence unit from the Russian Federal Security Service, or FSB. After his poisoning, Navalny returned to Russia 5 months later in 2021, despite knowing that he would be arrested by the Kremlin if he came back. Navalny told journalists who flew with him from Berlin, "I am not afraid." He was swiftly arrested on his arrival on charges that he dismissed as politically motivated. On the 24th of February 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, Navalny strongly condemned the war in social media posts from prison and during his court appearances. Investigators immediately launched a new probe. And in August 2023, Navalny was convicted of extremism and sentenced to 19 years in prison. Navalny spent the rest of his years behind bars, with long-standing concerns for his welfare growing more intense after he was transferred to a penal colony north of the Arctic Circle.
This government, our government, has been systematically trying to kill Navalny over the past few years, first psychologically and then physically. Assassination attempts have been made on him. We all know about it, about this poisoning, and probably one time it went wrong, and they decided to get him to the point where he couldn't dodge death. And they did, and they got him to that point, absolutely.